Alright, cocksuckers, welcome back to Practicing Portraits, right? Artwod Roadmap, Practicing Portraits. Artwod, again, being the best fucking online platform in the world for learning drawing from imagination and draftsmanship, right? Draw along with me. Please do draw along with me, or just draw fucking something for the love of Christ. Alright, yeah, just draw along, draw along. What else? What else do I say in my intros usually? What, really? I usually have something funny to say, don't I? I'm a hilarious guy. So, yeah, I don't fucking know. Anyways, I am in the section of the portrait roadmap where we look at an image, right, a reference perchance, and then we turn it into this very nice ball, very nice sphere, you know, totally have the ball. No, TFS, Team 4-star abridged, Frieza arc. Anyways, Team 4-star abridged, what the fuck, Dragon Ball Z abridged, whatever. The point is, we draw the center. I'm looking at a portrait, right, a reference. I'm drawing I'm putting it inside a box, right? I'm visualizing a box on that portrait. I'm visualizing the center line, or the sphere inside the box, and then the vertical and horizontal center lines inside that sphere, and then I'm trying to hold that projection of what I have in my reference there, carry it over to the fucking page. And then, to make it more difficult, then, after I'm done doing that, I add the features just for, like, understanding proportions. The features aren't supposed to be really accurate of what they're supposed to look like. It's just about me being able to understand the contour that's on it's on a curved plane, right? A spherical plane, right? A spherical surface, an elliptical surface, however you would want to call it. And then I hold that projection, and then I put a helmet over it, right? A helmet design of sorts. That's what I'm trying to, right? And it's really, and the whole point of the helmet design is just to practice doing form wrapping, right? Putting shapes, hard surface or otherwise, right now focused on hard surface. Hard surface is just mechanical shapes, hard edge shapes, right? With the concepts of single rounding, multiple rounding, addition, subtraction, interlocking things, right? I'm gonna try to obviously, like, I was watching this video from Alex Hormozy just earlier. It was on how to learn anything, and obviously a lot of what he said resonated with me because I've already been practicing all of those things, right? Observation, analysis, doing basically a shit ton of volume, trying to understand what worked and what didn't. So the main thing is, obviously, as I explain these things, I want to be, and teaching and transferring skills is a skill he mentions, obviously it's true, right? But I want to be able to teach, right? Like, and not in the sense that, like, I don't know if I'll ever teach in a classroom or whatever, but I would like my content to be relatively educational for people as well. I hope at this point you're already drawing along, because I fucking talk forever, right? Okay, I'm looking at this reference, right? And obviously the sphere is not perfect, and that was a mistake, and that's good. Like, it's a fucking mistake. I do believe the box that I'm gonna be putting inside of this, it's a grayscale image actually. It has nothing to do with anything. I just thought I'd point it out. I do believe the box is this is a 1-point perspective box, which with convergence, from what I can tell, because we don't really see we don't see the top of her head, really. Her head is not tilted; it is straight. So I think adding the center line here is gonna help a lot. It's very close to the edge of her face. Because again, we're seeing the side of her face. This is a side profile. Yeah, it's a side profile. And I do believe there's literally no, there's like very, very, very little. And I genuinely mean like very little. Yeah. Even then, that's wrong. Again, I was initially considering just making it a straight line. The straight line would have been the accurate one. So that's a mistake again. Wonderful, right? Mistakes are good. Her hair is covering her eyebrows, but from what I can tell, her eyebrows are like this. And again, these features just exist for me to currently get into the habit of understanding where features will be placed. Mistake was the fact that again, like, clearly the biggest mistake I'm making right now. And by the way, while I'm doing this, I'm trying to think about the box as well. The clearest mistake I'm making right now is I'm tilting the angles too much. Right? I'm tilting the angles way too much. Like, genuinely way too much. So that is obviously something to keep in mind, because, and this is incorrect, because obviously we want accuracy, right? I want to be able to accurately see the face that I'm drawing. Right. I want to accurately be able to put the box in perspective, right? Put the face inside the box and all that stuff. So that's been done. That's the mistake, right? But for the for the sake of actually translating it accurately, I'm gonna make this one more accurate to what the actual reference is, right? Oh, and what I was trying to say is the fact that learning is already a difficult skill, right? Because learning is a skill, and transferring that learning, that knowledge, is another skill. So again, you might be already thinking, why the fuck, what is he starting here? So I'm starting with establishing the shape of the sphere, right? I'm starting with establishing that. And while I'm doing that, I'm constantly reminding myself that, hey, it's actually a box that's converging, right? Not super drastically, but relatively drastically, right? And here is the quote-unquote ear area. And I'm also thinking, like, what shapes? Like, I'm trying to think about, like, major shapes. And it's all super vague right now. I'm vaguely thinking about, like, a block-like shape here, three-dimensional square box-like shape here. And then it's also about, like, okay, but what function does that serve, right? What manipulations am I trying to add on top of that? While, let's not forget, trying to keep that overall box, the sphere inside that box, and then the design of, like, whatever the shape is in mind, right? And I'm also trying to think, like, how does that attach to something else? And on top of that, I'm also trying to recall all the references that I've been passively or actively looking at when it comes to hard surface in real life or helmet designs or anything, right? So there's like 7 different things I listed there, right? And it's very difficult, obviously. It's very, very difficult. So even something as simple as me, okay, like, let's just say I want to add a little ellipse here, and I want to turn this cylinder here, right? And this is like a bolt, you could say. And it's like, okay, now how do we shape things around that? Because that's incorrect. We've already established that it's actually like, this should have been just a straight line, because we're just seeing the side of the face, right? And again, like, while I see this, I'm reinforcing to myself, oh yeah, don't forget the center line. Again, I'm constantly like, the biggest thing is the center line and the vertical center line and the horizontal center line and the box that it's all encompassed in, right? And also, obviously, proportion. Proportion is really important too. So again, while I do this, I'm trying to keep in mind that it's much more complicated than I let on. And it's like, okay, I got maybe something established here. What about the mouth area, right? What design do I want for that? I've been doing a lot of these. And again, you might be thinking, where does he come up with these shapes or angles? It's purely just, okay, we have a box, right? First of all, I'm already really struggling a lot to visualize the box, the cylinder, the sphere inside the box, the perspective of this box, right? Keeping the center line vertical and horizontal in mind. There's all of that. And then we also have to wrap whatever three-dimensional, first of all, simple shape in mind, which is the box, right? Okay, let's say we got that now. And then the next question is, what manipulations are happening to this box? Now, when it comes to manipulations, a lot of the time, because I'm on hard surface right now, it comes down to diagonals, right? Diagonals, little cutouts, right? Like, while trying to keep everything in mind. It's like, where did you come up with this? Why did you do this one specifically? Because experimentation, right? That's the only answer I can give you. It's like, it's sheer experimentation, right? It's just doing okay, like, you start off with one angle and then maybe go straight, and then maybe it curves around, it's a multiple rounding, and then it goes straight again, and then it does another angle, which is obviously I incorrectly did it, and then it goes straight again. This is all sheer experimentation. Like, I can't give you any other answer apart from the fact that you're just trying to do things. Now, maybe there's something cutting out here, and then, okay, like, is it connecting to here now? While again, okay, reinforce that there's a sphere, reinforce that there's a box, reinforce that it's converging slightly. Okay, the center line, don't forget that the center line is right around here, right? Don't forget that, but also don't forget that it's all inside a box and you have proportions. Okay, now let's go back to trying to figuring out what shapes are going to be involved, right? Do these shapes have a purpose? What the fuck is this? I made this and I thought I made it with purpose, but now I'm not so sure I made it with purpose, right? So maybe will I add a little cylinder here, right? And maybe this is like the mouthpiece. Of course, it's the mouthpiece, right? And again, looking at the reference in and of itself, this is already very difficult. This is already very, very difficult, right? And then again, like, does this have a cutout, right? Maybe it has a slight cutout, like so, right? And there's convergence happening as well, so we have to keep that in mind, right? And again, am I cutting this out? Maybe I am. But what does that lead to, right? Is this the nose area? Don't forget, this is the center line. So I've already consistently been trying to think about the center line, right? And now, okay, maybe I want to add little grill marks because I've seen that somewhere. I see that constantly in terms of design language, right? And then we'll just end this off at a diagonal. How did that diagonal come about? Because I'm thinking about the box. I'm thinking about a square plane, right? Oh, look, I forgot the fucking perspective again, right? So I hope by constantly reinforcing to me and to you, whoever is listening, that I hope this is educational in the sense that there's a lot of thought that's occurring, right? And it's all gonna end up in mistakes anyways. Like it's literally all gonna end up in mistakes. Like don't forget that part, right? Like all of this is just gonna end in sheer mistakes anyways. So that doesn't really matter. You know, like everything I just told you doesn't really matter, right? Because it's all gonna end up being a mistake. But what does matter is that those mistakes, and again, will inform, okay, what is happening, right? What am I doing right now? I have no idea. This bolt may have already fucked things up a little bit, but this is where the eye. See, I completely I've been thinking about the vertical center line so much that I completely forgot about the horizontal center line, right? But it is here, and I've established that this is the size of my lips. So technically, this is where the eye line should be, right? So now we have to make a decision, and I can't look at that because this is curved, right? But the eye line here is straight. So now I have to make a decision regarding the eye. And again, this shape's like, where did he come up with that? Just maybe, again, it's all about what ifs. What if I do an angle and I try to visualize and I try to think about it this way? Like, just what if, right? And then now, like, let's try to go with the contour of the ellipse, right? And then it's like, okay, same thing here now, but let's not forget, right, that it is curving around. Now, is that correct? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think definitely something is amiss here. Right? If we were to look at the straight on, I think this would definitely be a problem. And I think I ended up making it curved anyways. So that's a huge mistake, right? And again, like, okay, let's just try outlining because outlining seems to work in terms of a design, right? But this is the beauty, is like, you notice what the fuck am I saying? You notice as I slow down, it allows me more chances to think, right? And again, like maybe, okay, now I'm thinking maybe I'll have a box that's just jutting around, but I keep losing the ellipse. I keep losing the ellipse, right? I keep losing it. So that's another thing, is like we need to think about, because this is straight, and I don't think I've clearly, yeah, I've not at all, like this is completely off. And that's an amazing mistake, but now I have to really problem solve. I'm really trying to problem solve. Okay, we have a box. It was supposed to be converging like this, and I know, what the fuck am I saying? Although, I think I got it down initially here. Now, we're gonna have to kind of, yeah, make things seem a bit more, like we're gonna have to work around that, right? So, and this doesn't really look that good. I'm well aware, right? And now it's like, okay, well, I've already made a lot of mistakes, but now I have to think, because it's so difficult right now. I'm telling you, my brain is dying trying to think about everything, right? And you might be, and I know many people, I clearly at this point have commenters who think that me trying to do everything is crazy or whatever, but the point is, I want to think about everything. I want to struggle, and I want to put my brain through that experience. I want to struggle to the extreme, and I want to suffer, quote unquote. I don't like the word suffer, right? I don't like the word suffer. So I'm just saying that to make a point that, like, those of you who think this is suffering, this is what I want, but I don't see it as suffering. I see it as learning. I see it as growth, right? So let's see, and then I'm trying to like make sure that it makes sense, and then opposite spectrum, right? Now that doesn't look really that good either, but now I'm losing it. Like, I am losing it. I think I messed up somewhere here. Because this doesn't really make much sense. That doesn't really make much sense. So I do think I lost it there a little bit. And something like that, right? Like on the opposite end, but that's already wrong. And again, I lost the sphere, I lost the box, I lost everything there, by the way. I lost everything there. Like, and I'm just trying to get that center line back. It's already all fucked, to be honest. But this is the part where we commit to the fucking. When in doubt, hip thrust your life away. See, like, what the fuck is this? Like, I initially wanted to do something here. But now we just got to... Just gotta commit. Right? And kind of turn into something else. Does it make sense? I did at one point. Now not so much. But this is the beauty. Like, this is genuinely the beauty of it all. Right? Is just trying to figure out... Okay. And then we can just... kind of close it around. But it's a mess. It's a complete mess. But I tried to be intentional, but there's so much wrong. And it's not even like good proportion-wise, right? But this right here, this intense failure that you just witnessed, is the best thing that's ever happened to me this entire session so far, which is obviously just the first part of the session, but you understand what I'm trying to say. It's like all of these mistakes and like lack of intentionality and constantly losing everything and constantly losing everything. And don't forget, I'm talking, I'm explaining what I'm doing while I'm doing it. So not only am I trying to maintain focus on the 8 things that I mentioned and trying to actively recall and experiment, I'm trying to explain it while I do it as well. So these are all skills that are extremely difficult, and in conjunction, they create a fucking retarded mess like this. And that's the best part, because the more I do this, the better I'll get, right? Volume. It's all about volume and intentionality. So I hope that puts into perspective that, hey, any artist you see, even as mediocre as me, right? Bars. I'm not a rapper. But any artist as such as I, but, fuck, I tried to rhyme that one. I was thinking of pie or some shit. Didn't work out. That's what happens when you force it. But yeah, any artist who even has my level of skill or more, and definitely way more, right? And even less, 100% less as well. We're all thinking of multiple things and trying to hold those multiple things at once consistently and shuffling through them to remind ourselves at the same time. This was an incredible fucking, oh my god, it was so good. Such a good practice. Like, all the failures were amazing. All right, let me pick another reference. Just another face. And then... Okay, this guy's like head is... He's like turning his head like this, and it's kind of, you see the bottom of the jaw. Okay, we'll use this man smoking a cigarette. Very unhealthy, but also very sexy. Right? Isn't that the marketing of it all? Kill your lungs, but I don't know what rhymes with lungs. I'm gonna stop trying to fucking be a poet. But I don't even know it. No, it doesn't work. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna rest my brain. I'll be right back, and I encourage you to do so as well. So one thing I can clearly say, 100%, is that this had zero intentionality. And the thing is, like, what's clearly been working, because we have to analyze what's working and what's not working, right, is when there are large shapes. By the way, notice that this took me 18 minutes thus far, right? And we're on rep 18, what a coincidence. But before I move on, let's analyze, right? Let's look deep within the butthole of the analing of the Isaac, and I don't know what the fuck I'm saying anyways. But what's clearly is working in general is like, okay, this looks kind of nice. Why? Because we've established that there are general consistent shapes wrapped around this form, right? Why does this look okay? Because these, again, are like 2 shapes, right, that are following the form and have connections and meaning and purpose, relatively. This looks like shit, obviously, because of the perspective. This entire thing doesn't make sense at all, because there's no intent. It's all blending together. There's no separation. This, you know, obviously, and I'm saying this looks good, this looks bad, from my current understanding, good and bad, and what I just, I guess, innately feel is aesthetically pleasing, right? And this isn't even regarding, like, the angles and shit I'm using, just in general. Like, this seems to work because, again, it's an intentional shape that's jutting out. This seems to work because it's an intentional shape that's separate and has a purpose. It's like the eye area or whatever. This, even though the perspective is off and I fucked the crown up, this seems to work because it has, like, vents, right? It has like a little design aesthetic, and again, they're separate yet seem to be cohesive, you know. So what I need to think about, possibly, like not possibly, but clearly the direction I need to think about is intentionality in terms of the shapes being placed, and then trying to make sure that they have some sort of connection or are being supported in some way, right? And like they look like they belong as part of the image. Now, what does belong mean? We're gonna have to figure that out through our shapes, right? We're gonna have to figure that out through the work that we put in. But even something as small as that. This pen just fucking died. What the fuck? No, I guess that doesn't work, right? Jesus Christ, what the fuck happened to this pen? Right, but even this could work just because we're establishing that, hey, there's like a shape that's attached to this, right? God damn it, what the fuck is going on with this pen? Pentaru brush sainu pentaru. Anyways, okay, let's draw this guy. Right, let's get the center line down. Okay, so this is, I love this. This is tilted, so it's very difficult. So obviously I can kind of already see the box, but and the beautiful thing is like because people's jaw lines are like they're shaped like this or they're shaped like this. Like, you know, if this is we're looking from the bottom, right, or this is we're looking from the side, right? It's not gonna make much sense to you right now, but the point is I'm saying like because people's jawlines actually get in the way of us understanding the box because it's literally an angle, right, that's going against or being cut out from that initial box, that it is still, the onus is on us to understand what type of box that is. So that's why the eye is such a great indicator, because no matter what the jaw is facing, the eye will follow the perspective at all times, right? And it'll tell us exactly what type of box this is. So again, seeing the box, and now I put the sphere. And this is the part where I'm thinking really hard, is like I'm trying to put the sphere correctly inside the box, right? And this is very difficult. Don't forget, visualizing before drawing is a skill, and then visualizing while applying that drawing and what you're trying to see is also a skill, because obviously now I'm focused on the line and trying to make sure, like just in general, I'm trying to make sure the ellipse is it's like as perfect of a circle as I can make it, right? But thankfully now I'm back to visualizing the box. And yeah, this is a very, very, very interesting perspective, because it's something like this, right? This is literally the bottom of this guy's head, you know? And then now we have, this is the horizontal center line, which is the eye line, right? And I have to make it accurate, obviously. And while I'm doing this, I'm obviously trying, failing miserably, by the way, failing consistently, by the way, but I'm trying to think about the eye, the box, sorry, not the eye, but I guess that also applies. And then again, right, the eyebrows, these are great indicators for the perspective. And the eye, and obviously, like, it's something that's jutting inside, like it's inside, but we can't think about that right now. We just need to, and his eyes closed too. I just need to put this in perspective, like so, right? And then the nose is, again, like these are, I'm not drawing the features because I want to draw the features. I'm drawing the features so I understand how perspective is working in this case, because the nose is also following the perspective. Of course it is, right? The nose is, of course, following the perspective, right? What the fuck? This guy has a weird-ass nostril. Yo, what the fuck is wrong with your nostril? Anyways, and I'm not gonna draw the lips because the lips are down there. But, and this could all be wrong proportionally, of course. This is just based on what currently artwod is teaching, and obviously, and my interpretation of it. Maybe this is a complete fucking bastardization of what they're teaching, right? But right now, I just understand. Look at the face, put it inside a sphere, and then put the center line, the horizontal line, right? Now, I already know that, from what I can observe, I believe that this is relatively accurate, of course. Okay. And now we're gonna obviously, like, this is very difficult. This is the beauty. Like, this is actually very difficult. So now we have to really, really think about this. Like, I have to put this box here and then hold the sphere there. And then I have to think about the shapes I'm gonna draw. So now we've obviously established, and establishing is one thing, but doing is another, right? But we've been trying to establish that, hey, clearly, and we're seeing the bottom of this face. I'm obviously moving this down a little bit because that one's in the way. But I'm establishing right now that clearly I need to have my shapes have more purpose, right? At the very least, they need to not be a conjoined mess like this, where nothing is articulated well. Right? This is a complete mess. We can agree on that. It's a complete fucking mess, right? So, and this is the extremely difficult part is, okay, first, think about the box, right? And then put the sphere inside the box. And now put the center line, right? Don't forget proportions, right? Try to, even if you're visualizing and ghosting, don't forget about the proportion. And now we have to think, okay, well, Kim Jong-gi and many others like Peter Han, they usually start with the eyes, right? Kim Jong-gi always said like the eyes really, really helped establish things. So now I have to think, what is a mech eye shape that I could do? Because I don't have it in front of me. I don't have any examples. But it's like, what could I do? And not just mech, obviously, hard surface, all that stuff. That would be nice. Now, to make it really difficult for me, I could turn it into an ellipse, right? Because that is very difficult. Because I'm drawing an ellipse on a spherical plane, right? And obviously I'm trying to think about the box and the center line. That's not bad. Because don't forget, this is actually the edge of the sphere, right? And I have seen things like this. And this is a great practice just for me in terms of lines, right? Line quality, line confidence, line clarity. But never forget, like this is, while I'm doing this, literally while I'm doing this, I'm trying to keep that box, the sphere, and the center line in mind. And this is why I'm actually, this is the main reason I even switched to doing portraits. Because at the end of the day, when you're drawing a face, right, you're still thinking about all of these. All I'm doing is making it harder for myself right now. So when it comes to putting simple features, not simple being in quotations, of course, because the features themselves are manipulated, more complex shapes, right? They're manipulated shapes. They start off simple like a box, or like a box with a slant for the nose, right? And then like a box attached to the side of the fucking box, the slanted box for the nostrils, right? Like something like this. Like it starts off like this, right? And then here you have a fucking box for one nostril and then another box for the other, right? But then, as we know, it gets more and more manipulated, where it becomes something like this, like something like that, and then something like this. By the way, this is just my knowledge right now based on what I've vaguely seen of artwod. That's probably not the manipulated shapes they use for the nose, but it's just what I recall from what I'm seeing, because I've like looked ahead at the portrait roadmap, right? But anyways, back to this, right? Okay, think about the center line, right? This was cool. I think I did something decent here. But now it's like, okay, what major shapes can come into play regarding this, right? Do I want angle? Well, I've committed to that angle. Okay, so now I have to calculate, because it's like, okay, this is still the plane. This is still the box, right? And the perspective is actually this way, so I have to think where, probably something like that, right? Now, if that's the angle that I've chosen, then I'm going to try something different. Okay, something like that. And again, I'm really trying to think, and everything I'm doing right now has a likelihood of being completely off, right? Completely off. Makes zero sense. This is fucking stupid, right? And already it genuinely could be that way. I'm just trying to figure out what and why. That's all I'm trying to figure out, right? What is working and why? What is not working, why not? And the why doesn't really matter, I'll be honest, at the end of the day. It's just more about like what is working, to be honest. Like, to be completely honest, I think that's all that matters. See, like I'm trying to add little manipulations while obviously consistently trying to reframe my mind around the box, the center line, the horizontal line, which I lost multiple times, by the way. Probably already lost it like 5, 6 times, 7 times. My lines are also really subpar. right? Everything is mediocre at best. But what matters is that I'm just trying to figure things out, right? And look, like I love this. I love that this pen is finally fucking working the way it should, as in it's showcasing how difficult it is as a medium to use, right? But like the brush pen, I fucking love how difficult the brush pen is. Okay, so we've established that this is the eye line, right? We've established that, and I think I should start with the eye line from now on, right? Because it showcases to me that I don't know shit about design, which is good. And then now I need to move back because still trying to establish the center and think, okay, like how can I bring this back? But I want interesting shapes. What the fuck does interesting mean? Well, that's where the experimentation comes in, right? And again, this is super difficult. My brain is really grinding and trying to figure this all out, right? Genuinely, it's really grinding. So it's like, will something like this because again, we have to try to keep the perspective in mind, even though I completely failed there. Right? Something like this make a difference. And maybe something jutting out like so. Right? And again, while I'm doing all this, as I would like to consistently keep reminding people, I'm thinking about the box, the sphere inside the box, the center lines, vertical and horizontal inside the sphere inside the box. Right? It is like this. This is what I'm thinking about. Right? It's very difficult, and I'm explaining what I'm doing while I'm doing it. And by the way, and again, while I'm doing all of this, what is the this I'm doing? Trying to recall all the different ways I've seen interesting shapes. Trying to fucking understand and analyze what made them interesting. Trying to experiment on different angles and like what works and what doesn't. Trying to find purpose to those angles. Trying to find purpose to the shapes themselves, right? So design is very difficult. And don't forget lines. Don't forget my lines are also, I'm attempting to make them nice and clean, quote unquote, right? Trying being the operative word. So now I'm gonna make, obviously, a decision. Right? Now, is this decision the, again, quote unquote, right decision? We will not know until it is done, and by then it won't matter because I'll have moved on. Right? Now, I could maybe just do something like this, like it just connects, right? And maybe it's again like trying to have more purpose to these shapes, or maybe it's just jutting out like that, right? We will only know whether this means anything once I'm done, but I do think I'm doing an okay job at least trying to make things connect and make them seem like they have purpose. So that's the eye area, and that's very intense, right? So there's a part of me that wants to make the mouth area much less intense, right? Because we've already established that there's a lot going on here, and I've already fucked this up. Like this is not foreshortened enough, right? And that's what it is. That's just what it is, right? So, and I don't have much space to work anymore either because I've done a lot here. So what we could do is something like this. And this is the part where I'm breaking the perspective because this is obviously something that's angling. And then let's see. Now this is very difficult. What I'm about to do is really gonna fucking hurt my brain. Okay? Like genuinely really gonna hurt my brain. And that's why I gotta figure things out before I commit to them. Right? This is the horizontal line, which is, I'm just trying to think, right, how it all attaches. There you go. Right? And we can do something like this. Some multiple rounding. There you go. You see, like it's a bit cleaner, I'd like to think. Oof, that's really fucking really good brain exercise. It's like, which way is this going, right? It's probably going something like this. So we need, and it's going that, it's coming out, so there you go. I think I'll have to recheck that. And then now we have another option, which is we can maybe, because again, it is going all the way back, maybe, and you'll see, like, I'm really partial to these types of angles right now, right? Because that's all I kind of think about. I'm trying to expand out of that. Obviously, I'm really trying to expand out of that, right? And instead, like, okay, to expand out of it, why don't I just add an ellipse? Now, does that look good? I don't really know. I don't really fucking know at all. Right? But perspective-wise, it is incorrect. So this is the part where we can just kind of fraud it. And be like, hey, look, we brought it back, right? Roughly. But goddamn, is that hard? Like, goddamn, is that hard, right? We gotta make sure. And again, like, there's some things that just don't make sense. They don't connect here at all, right? Now we just gotta figure out what the hell's going on here, because I already committed to this. If that's coming out like that. No, wait. Gotta think about this. I gotta think about this very. Something like that. But like, what is, like, okay, if that's the angle here, then this is probably what's happening here. Something like that, right? And again, I know, like, the lines completely are fucked. This is just me kind of making shit up. Right? And it is wrong. Like, it should have, it's just not following it's not following it as much. Very difficult. My brain is really hurting. Like, my brain's really hurting. And at this point, it's like, it's kind of even hard to tell what's going well and what's going isn't. You know what I mean? What going isn't? Okay, now you know my brain's just not fucking working. Yeah, what's going well and what isn't going well. See, whatever. Just like a fucking useless ellipse or cylinder, because I just can't think anymore. There you go. I'll tell you right now, like, this right now, I'm just not thinking. Like, I literally can't see anything anymore. I spent a lot of brain energy constantly trying to see things. So now it's just about, let's see. There you go. Yeah, it's just about kind of filling in the blanks. And again, don't forget, if it's there, then it's on the other side too. This is okay. But as you can see, it's too long. I elongated it way too much, right? And there's too much going on. I think there's way too much going on. But that's on me. Like, that's my fault, right? And again, like, you can already see, like, I'm trying to, like, add things, but we'll leave it. There's a lot wrong. But this is great exercise, because again, the entire time I'm trying to put this in here, right? So let me rest my brain again. I encourage you to do so as well. I hope that was informative in the sense that, like, what I'm thinking about while I'm going about it, right? Because the higher level I get over the years and years and years, there will definitely be more nuance, and I'm trying to be as articulate as I can, right? What the fuck, my throat just sucked some dick, but I'm trying to be as articulate as I can, but yeah. Anyways, let me rest my brain. I hope that was informative, and I hope you fucking drew along, you piece of shit. Anyways. Jesus Christ. What the fuck is all that small coffee with one cream? But let's see. Let's look at another one. We need different angles, right? Let's see. Why don't we do this? Yeah, I like the subtle. I like these subtle ones where it's just somebody kind of looking like this person is just. Let's say like this is a side profile. They're like this, right? So like the eyes like here, and they're just kind of looking at us in this picture, right? But it's from what I can see, like it's kind of like they're looking down at us, right? Their heads are slightly tilted up, but it's so subtle that that it's hard to tell whether we're seeing the bottom of their head or their top of their like which plane is being seen, and this is the really difficult skill. And this is the very notable skill. So I think we're seeing the bottom of their face because again, I'm looking at the eye, right? Yeah, I would like to believe. Yeah, I would like to believe we're seeing the bottom of their face. So let me analyze their face a bit more, and purely in terms of the box, the sphere inside the box, and then the two center lines, right, vertical and horizontal. And I do believe we're seeing the bottom. It's a very slight, very, very slight. I mean, the thing is, her nose is upturned too, right? So that's something to take note as well. But she kind of looks like an elf. But yeah, they do need workers' rights. But good thing Santa never let them unionize, to be honest. Look at this fucking face. Would you let that face unionize? I wouldn't. I'd shoot it on sight after giving them a paid decrease. But let's see. That's the center line. I think I got this one. I think I do. Right? So again, the most important thing right now is to keep all of that in mind while I draw what will most likely be not a perfect ellipse. Oh, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I think my ellipses are definitely a bit too narrow on average, right? Too narrow on average. But let's see, we're seeing a decent amount of the left side of their face. So it is something like this. That's pretty accurate, right? And again, what am I thinking about? I'm thinking about the box and then the cylinder inside that box. Now here is the subtlety. And here's where I've consistently messed up that subtlety, right? It's very, very subtle, even more subtle than what I'm ghosting right now. It's super, super subtle, like barely a curve, genuinely barely a curve. So I got to keep that in mind as I do this. Just barely a curve. There you go. See, that's the subtlety I'm missing, and that's the subtlety that obviously I can't portray very well. And yeah, like I'm going over the lines and blah blah blah. Like yeah, okay. So it's a bit fucked, but that is definitely much more accurate. Yeah, that's definitely much more accurate. I think that's something that I can encourage everybody to focus on is. And by the way, it's only been like 19 reps, right? Isn't that awesome? Like only 19 reps, and there's already been so much more understanding that's occurred. Well, that's because fucking 3 reps takes me an hour. Jesus Christ, man, Jesus Christ. By the way, today is Thursday. My laptop charger I left at my friend's place. I think I mentioned this yesterday, but I left my laptop charger at my friend's place. So I do not know if and I haven't queued today's video. Like I haven't exported and queued today. So today's Thursday, the December 18th. So if you do not see a video today, just know that instead of doing my usual Tuesday to Saturday, right, it will be Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So always will be 5 days a week. Let's not forget that. I'll always get that down, but my consistency is getting fucked because of my own ineptitude, to be honest. I'm the one who forgot my charger, so I'm the one who's suffering because I'm the one who can't edit, I add background music and upload my video. So, but just a heads up for anybody fucking watching, right? Because this video will come out probably on the Sunday, I'm thinking. This is really, really helpful. I fucking love learning. Like it genuinely makes me want to nut. And now that I've done nutting, because I value speed and efficiency, we're gonna go back to thinking. And again, like while I'm doing this, the most important thing to think about from my understanding and my belief is the contour of the plane that I'm drawing, right? So, and this is actually pretty accurate. It's for the first time I'm not fucking, I didn't fuck up the center line horribly. Because again, like The thing is, it's not that my center lines are inaccurate. They're just, I mean, they are inaccurate, but they're not inaccurate in the sense that like the curve is off perspective most of the time. It's purely just like it's off perspective in the sense that it's too pronounced. But this is actually very accurate to the reference, so I'm actually pretty proud of myself for that. Right, and then let's just get the general nose shape. Right. And then, yeah, not that like that's super accurate or anything either. This is why I love, that I'm gonna have my portraits. My portraits will be drawn at the size, like Karl Kopinski's and Kim Jong-il's, Peter Han's. Like, I know we can draw bigger, we can draw smaller. I think this is a good size because this will really, 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 like, incredibly so, improve my line work, like my fine line details. Like, it's definitely gonna improve that for sure because there's a lot more nuance and intent, and because it's so small, like I just don't have anything but the option to do it as accurately as I can, right? And to get it down with these tiny lines, right? So I'm looking forward to it. I genuinely am looking really forward to it. See, like this is already looking pretty decent. Look at that, it's already a face, right? And I don't even know, I actually don't even understand the 3D form of lips and teeth, or nose and all that shit, really, at all, right? I think we can confidently say that I don't understand anything. But, okay, it's been 46 minutes. I'm gonna really spend my time this last 15 minutes, because I think having 3 reps per video, or per hour, like per practice, is a pretty good way to go about it. Really, really, really forces me to think, but let's see, now I have to fucking transfer this minus the features. I have to transfer this sphere with the center line, the horizontal line, and the box that it resides in. Very subtle box, right? Like the bottom plane is basically just like this. Super subtle. I don't really draw subtle boxes like that at all, right? I'm actually, my weakness clearly is that I choose more pronounced angles because I try to understand that angle more, but subtlety is actually a skill in and of itself, and it's arguably, clearly, right, I'd like to, from what I can see now, it's a more important skill because human expression, human angles, the portrait tilt and everything is all subtle. So again, we'll keep trying to do it with the eyes first, right? And obviously I'm going to try to think about, but like first, before anything, I'm just trying to think. I'm just going to try to think, right? Come on. By the way, if you're listening to this at this point and you aren't thinking, let's recalibrate ourselves. What is a cue? Am I in extreme discomfort? No. So let's be in extreme discomfort, right? There you go. Now we're in extreme discomfort because I'm thinking about the box, and I'm really trying to get that angle down, right? That subtle angle of the bottom plane. And then we're thinking about the sphere inside that box, which is also incredibly difficult because it's a perfect ellipse inside that box, because the square is actually, the box is a cube, right? For the time being, you know, I know like actually it's more of an elongated head, right? Like the head shape is like more of an elongated box, but for the time being, just because we're not fitting the entire face, this is just the spherical part of the head right now. We're fitting that in. But anyways, fucking unnecessary side tangent aside, question mark, what the fuck? Okay, we're thinking about all of that. We're thinking about the box. And by the way, like, it is very difficult. Let's not get it wrong. Like, it is, that's why I said, am I in extreme discomfort? No. And that's why I keep ghosting that bottom planes to reinforce myself that, hey, like, this is kind of where you need to be. And then the center line's actually at an angle slightly, right? Center line's at an angle. And then that's extremely subtle. See how like this is too much already? So extremely subtle. That's still too much. Extremely subtle horizontal line. Extremely subtle. Now, obviously, the most difficult part is the eyes and getting the eyes down. So we need to think. And I genuinely do need to think, right? So, and my mind right now, because of what I've trained it to currently be capable of, is still thinking of a very exaggerated ellipse right here. Like, this is what it should be, right? Like, it's like this subtle. This is what my mind keeps gravitating towards. That's a difference. That's a huge difference. But clearly, like, this is way more correct. Like, this ellipse, right, in perspective that is wrapping around the sphere is a lot more correct. So that's what I need to train my mind to do as well now, right? So again, back to the box. right? So don't forget. Jesus Christ, I got a fucking. There you go, delicious. But don't forget, before I even put down a fucking mark, and because I'm a dumbass, there's a lot of thinking going on. There's a lot of thinking and trying to understand going on. And you see how like that was a completely wrong box? What was this? That's habit, right? And habits can be broken. But first we need to establish that center line. So now that we've established the center line, I believe, right? Like now that we've established it, still way too much, but now that we've relatively established it, I need to think, right, vertical and horizontal. We need to think about what shape in perspective are we going to create to accommodate for this. Right now my mind is going towards something like this, so let's commit. We don't know if it's correct. Like, I genuinely don't know if it's correct, right? But let us commit to it. And see where it takes us. Okay, now that I've done that, I got my center line now. And I have to think, okay, what is this shape? What is this shape? How can we make this quote-unquote aesthetic? Right? How can I make this seem like it has purpose? Well, maybe I can do something like this. Maybe. Right? Maybe. Because we all know it's all just a bunch of fucking maybes, right? What if I do this? What if I do that? And right now, my maybe is just, what if I just add like a little addition? Just a little addition, cute little addition like that. Right? Does that make this eye area a bit more interesting? And did it already fuck up my contour? The answer is possibly, but this is why we have to keep recalibrating, right? Because this is actually how big it is, or up to here, right? So that's how it is. And I have the right to continue to keep trying. Let's see. And maybe make it slightly smaller. Okay. And now what can I do to change this up? Because this is starting to look very samey and boring, right? So, and of course, like with hard surface design, from what I understand, there's going to be a lot of samey and boringness. And there you go. I'm going to try something like that. Just a little cutout like that. Still, obviously, I struggle with too much, right? Just too much details. But if I'm trying to think about that center line, both center lines, horizontal and vertical, the box, keep losing it, right? Keep losing it. But now, while I maintain this, which is extremely difficult, so while I maintain this, I must now problem solve. I would personally like something here that is a bit different. Personally, I would like something there that is a bit different. So it just comes down to, what do I want? Like, what do I want from there? What do I want out of that? What's something that's a nice helmet shape that I can rely on? But maybe, and again, it's all maybes. What if I do blank? Like, maybe just something like this. Right? Just something like that. And then we bring it around town, as SpongeBob once said. Right? And yes, that's a mistake. So how can we make that mistake not look like a mistake? Something like that. There you go. Cool. Okay. So center line has been relatively decently established, right? Now this is starting to look like a really Spartan almost helmet, right? And maybe we can even, again, the box, it's super subtle. Yeah, maybe let's just say like it continues right on that center. But either way, and maybe that doesn't look good, right? But now it's, okay, so we got this really subtle box. What other shapes can we have? Right? Let's bring it down here, because that's where the eye is, therefore that's where the ear is, so that's what we can start thinking about. Stuttering! Anyways, we can start thinking about what shapes. So I'm thinking just generally right now, just a box that is in perspective with this. So a box that's like this, right? Like that's generally like in that perspective, not that exact box, but obviously fitting around here. And then it's like, okay, but do we want it to angle? Or do we want it to meet the mouth area? Now here's where the eye, there's where the nose is. This is also really helpful. Like if me slowing down and thinking about the eyes, the nose, the mouth is really helpful, because this is a little bit of a bottom area. And I lost the perspective, but let's just say here we have it again. Right, now what do I want to do here? Because there's a lot that can be done here. Like, do I want it to jut out while I have the perspective? Like, do I want it to jut out, right? Do I want an ellipse instead, right? Or do I want it to jut out this way or go up this way? Or do I want it to subtract inwards this way? I don't know, but I've committed to the fact that something is going to connect here, right? And that's good, because commitment is what causes decisions at the end of the day as well, right? Now maybe and this could obviously, very obviously, just be something dumb. But this is just kind of what I'm thinking about right now, because I liked what I did here, but I want to try doing it differently, of course. So, and I liked what I did here as well. So, and this is the part, like when you start form wrapping, you still have to think about the perspective, and that's when things get difficult, right? But I do like what I did here. I do like that. So this is the part where perspective really has to be understood, at least decently. Right? In order to create something like this. And again, it's super subtle. And this is where maybe multiple rounding can come into play, right? Nothing impressive whatsoever, but I personally just like that motif, as they say, right? And it's okay. It's nothing incredible at all. But now that I've established it here, we have to, and this can actually maybe be something that's properly attached like that. But now that I've established it there, because it's very subtle, we have to make sure this is just slightly lower. Right? Just slightly lower. Bring it like that. There as well. Right? And then again, like, it's because this is the bottom perspective, I can't forget that. And again, this is where obviously my lines are also suffering, right? Let's not forget my lines are also suffering. There you go. And then let's see, I'm pretty sure I already made a couple mistakes, but it might be too thick, possibly. Well, this is the best part, because again, this is why I'm really, and I lost the perspective a lot there, by the way. I lost it a lot, right? But I'm glad, because I'm really focusing on the lines as well. I'm really focusing on trying to understand some sort of consistent design language, right? So here we can do something, maybe, where to reinforce the perspective, right? We can, and actually maybe we should just connect these. What do I want here? What kind of connection do I want here? Maybe like a cylindrical connection. Right, oh, and because I already did this here, we have to make sure it comes back over here, right? That multiple rounding. And this is where lines matter. And of course, my lines are some fucking dog shit. Dog shit. But the effort. And that's why I feel amazing when I draw. Like, that's literally why I feel amazing when I draw. Because I'm just trying, right? And I lost the perspective again multiple times. But this is actually pretty decent. I feel as if like I'm genuinely starting to understand. I didn't say genuinely, by the way. I said generally, right? Like, I'm generally starting to understand what makes something at least seem appealing. And right now it's like, yeah, like they're small, like big, medium, small. This is what I'm doing is really, what am I figuring out? Big, medium, small. The fucking shit that every artist, everybody talking about shapes, blah, 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 says, interesting shapes, big, medium, small. But as beginners, as people just trying to figure that out, it doesn't mean jack shit. Those words are just fucking words, right? There's no behaviors or actions derived from those words. So here I am trying to explain the behaviors and actions and my thought process of trying to figure it out. What have I learned so far? Big, medium, small is, okay, try to have like a general one or two large shapes, or in this context of wrapped around the form of the sphere for the head, right? Like, but in general, they'll be wrapped around something or molded around something, but like generally large shapes, and then try connecting them, or yeah, like interlocking them, interweaving them, whatever, with smaller shapes, and then have accents on those. And by smaller shapes, I mean like medium or small shapes, and then have accents on those, right? And this can only be done and sort of improved upon through sheer repetition and just what if, right? And just obviously, and the sheer repetition and what if is informed by our own research, our own passive or active analysis on, in my case, of like the world around me. Hey, that car has something like this. Hey, this fucking, like, oh, speaking of cars, like I'm just reminded right now, like this is why, like I've seen a lot of shit like this. Like a lot of shit like this. And then it juts out. Like cars have a lot of things like that, right? There you go, right? That was informed by the world for me. You know, now there's something here that seems amiss, so here we'll just create a little connection line, like so, right? Maybe more of a connection line, but whatever, right? But my lines are also subpar. Who would have fucking thought? But anyways, like that's what I'm understanding, because I get it. Listen, I get it. I know that big, medium, small doesn't mean jack shit to any of us. I'm well aware, right? It's just, but the process of just trying to figure out what it even means is most important, right? And that's just through sheer repetition. So now here, we can try to be like, what do we want? But maybe this space is better left empty, right? Maybe it's just better left empty, and maybe we can just add, like maybe something needs to be added here, right? But right now, all I can really think of is just what I always do, right? Which is just the little fucking, the hinge type shape, right? So that probably detracted from the design. And then what can we add here? Well, maybe, let's just say, we just add some cutouts as we go along the form, right? It's all maybes. That's the biggest thing I've learned, is just, you're never gonna know everything. It's all just, what if I do this? What if I do that? And this one looks the best of them all. This one literally looks the best of them all. And then we'll just add like some, in my opinion, of course, in my opinion, and we'll just add some depth, right? Just add some depth here to indicate that it is in perspective, but it's already wrong. There you go. Not bad at all. And I think this one definitely retained the perspective a decent amount, but this is already like incorrect. I think this could have been a lot more, like perspective wise, but I feel as if this one definitely had the best. Here, let me even like add these tiny details. Like this is the small of it, right? The little accents that we see. It's not bad. It's not bad. I think that one definitely is the best of them, the best of them all. But that was really difficult. That was incredibly difficult. But you see, just through trial and error, just really trying to think and explain things out loud, which I've been trying to do. But I feel as if this session in general was the best one in really taking a step back and just trying to think out loud and just trying to be like, okay, what is actually happening when it comes to quote unquote good design or good helmet design or good hard surface shapes, right? Like what is actually happening? Because I wasn't really thinking. This was really vague, right? This one was a bit more specific, and you can see as I got more specific, I got more intentional. Therefore, I took more time, which is the most important part, because I took more time to think and to act on that thinking. But when I did, it made generally more sense. Like there's still a lot of messiness here with the lines, especially that reduces clarity, which is another thing. That's just technical skill, not even ideation or design applicability, right? But like here, I wasn't thinking at all. But it was also very difficult to think here. But as I got and I kept going, slowly and surely got better. And again, for every single one of these, for every single one, about like 50 to 60% of the time, I kept losing the perspective, I kept losing the proportions, I kept losing the center lines, the horizontal and vertical center lines, I kept losing the box, I kept losing the sphere, right? But I just kept, when I recognized that, because again, when I recognized that is when I tried going back, right? I just tried to go back and hold it for a little bit longer. And that's the thinking part, and that's the active, intentional thinking part. So as long as you're doing that, and as long as hopefully this makes you aware that, oh, like, because, you know, there will be fucking retards who only look at the output. But for those of you who are you're here to learn, right, or the outcome, sorry, but for those of you who are here to learn, right, and to practice along with me, hopefully, and to like maybe get insights here and there, and maybe get some information on like, okay, like this guy can do X amount of things slightly better than me, right? What's he thinking about? Hopefully this was informative, and it was reaffirming. It's just consistent effort and just intentionality and constantly just going back and just like readjusting or reorienting yourself back to that effort and intentionality, because it is incredibly difficult to do it consistently, right? But as long as you're trying, that's all that fucking matters. As long as you keep trying, you'll get better at trying, and your standard and your ability to and your own standard, right? Your own baseline for trying will just slowly increase, and the amount of things that are encompassed within that baseline for trying will increase as well, right? Like the amount of things you can, for example, the amount of things I can hold in my head while I'm doing this now is like, bro, I couldn't even fucking do this a year or two ago, right? I couldn't do this, but now I'm doing this underneath. I'm doing this on top of this. Like, what the fuck? So yeah, consistent effort. But with that being said, I don't know if I'm gonna draw another time today. It is like, there's like part of me was like, it's December, just wind down, chill, do your 1 hour drawing, just fucking whatever. If you're gonna scramble to put out videos and you're a little bit just like only barely ahead of your schedule, right, or your backlog, fine. But there's another part that's like, hey, just keep drawing, keep trying. So we'll see which one wins today. But in general, as always, fuck you for watching.
I keep drawing.
And please, give me money.